Hey guys, it's Lindsay. I was gonna do the Libra video, the deep dive. I have Libra and Scorpio left. But as I'm sitting here, I'm like, that's not quite it. That's not where we're going. So I think I'm actually gonna do a Divine Partners, and then I'm gonna do Libra and Scorpio. Because that feels right. And we should always go with what feels right. And as always, if any of these readings don't align for you, please take only what you need and leave the rest. This is a group reading, so some of these messages may not ring true, but some of them may be helpful. And that's what tarot is about for me. It is about empowering you guys to make informed decisions in your life. And so we are talking about divine partners. We're talking about divine masculine and feminine. That has nothing to do with gender. So it's really up to you to decide which partner is which. But off the top, as we're getting in there, first three cards, and I was right about doing this, we have Unfinished Symphony. And this is the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. This is the one I've been using. We have the Thinker. And we have Time for a Nap. So it's interesting because I just did a reading on TikTok that was really similar to this. And I think this is kind of, yes. I think there's a lot happening out of your knowledge, okay, in regards to romance. It feels like between you and your partner and or your possible partner, there is the unfinished symphony, there is unfinished communication, there is things have been left off where things weren't said or done, or there's not a feeling of completion, right? Okay. And so getting the Thinker card and getting the Time for the Nap card indicates to me that it's time to stop thinking about the need to complete something and give yourself a break, give yourself a rest. Because there's something happening in the background, the Fates. It's a really beautiful card. And I'm looking at the stars around her. And what I'm seeing is the Fates are aligning things beyond your very human eyesight in romance, okay? There are things going on in the ether, in the beyond. And it's almost like I'm seeing knots. So they're making knots. They're making knots and they are connecting. It's like connecting two souls over here and cutting this over here and then making another knot over here, and they're connecting things. So the message coming through is take a break. Take the break that is being offered to you around your romantic life, because there are things being done out of your purview, out of your vision, that are bringing you, if not back together, towards a completion, right? Towards an actual completion. Because I feel like the energy is not complete. The energy has been left off, okay? And what it feels like to me in the way this is coming through is that even though you are not seeing each other and or in contact with each other, if that's the case and you are in a separation, or if you're not actively communicating about your connection. This can also be for people who never quite made it to the romantic aspect, right? So people who knew it was their person, but they didn't quite make it to the romantic aspect. So it's interesting to me because it is coming through like the fates are going to draw you together after this period, after this unfinished symphony, okay? And draw you together, maybe not in reaching out, but maybe in the way that your paths are crossing. There's going to be a lot of really odd synchronicities and timings that are happening that I think neither of the two people involved are necessarily pushing towards. You know, it's like lining things up. Things are going to be lined up in a very strange way. So you may not be seeing each other, but you will see each other. You may not be seeking to see each other, but you will see each other. And it's not now. It feels like in the new year this will happen. And what I'm getting is it's that momentary decision on whether or not you will acknowledge, right? Okay. You know, sometimes when you have a strange, when a relationship is left off and you see the person later, sometimes it can be awkward, sometimes it can be strange, sometimes it can be uncomfortable, right? Especially if you're not expecting to see that person. And then all of a sudden they're there. They haven't been around you. They haven't been in your orbit for a long time, and all of a sudden they're there. And so when the fates tie you back together, I want you to actually look at the person, okay? I want you to look at them and see how they respond to you. Because you may be surprised by how they respond to you. You may be expecting them to respond one way, maybe negatively, and they'll respond another way. Okay? I think you really need to take that into consideration. It's very important. Because what I'm getting is there's this opportunity for, if not reconnection, then healing. And that in many ways in its exchange of gift, right? Is that completion is an actual gift, okay? When you feel like you've suitably completed a relationship, that's a gift. Anything else? There's something else where I think they're feeling off balance without you. And not even that they would consciously say it. It's more of a subconscious level that I keep seeing like the left foot is like a little bit off balance. That's what I'm seeing is. They don't know how to balance their world without you in it. Or they thought they had balance in their world and then you left. And now they're suddenly unbalanced and they're confused about it, right? Let's go a little deeper in the energy. The fates are talking. The fates are talking. I can hear them whispering too. And it's almost like they're giggling. They think it's funny. Because you think it's done. And they think it's done and it's not done. So we have orphaned and fork in the road. So again, when they come back to you in that unexpected manner, look at how they respond, because that's going to how you're going to make your decision on the next step, right? And I think both of you, the reason it's not completed is because both of you have not told your full truth to each other, okay? So one or both of you have been holding back. You haven't spoken the words of truth. You haven't said what you need to say. And that's why there's no completion. You haven't acknowledged the connection properly, okay? Because I feel like for both of you, this connection is different. So you get the feeling of no place like home. And then here we are, soulmates. So soulmates don't always have to mean, you know, love. It can, and it does many times. But friends can be soulmates, family members can be soulmates. But the thing about soulmates is many times you have in past lives been in romantic connections with them. Okay? And that's what is unique about this connection, and that's why the fates are maneuvering in the background. That's why these magical women are maneuvering in the background, because you have been connected before and you are not complete in this lifetime. You haven't done what you needed to do in this lifetime for each other. And there's also this sense of home with each other, familiarity, again, as I said, because you had been in relations in your past lives, and not just one of your past lives, like many of your past lives. And either one or both of you know it, and either one of you may not even be acknowledging it. Okay? So they may not be ready to acknowledge that that's what they're feeling. Because the tone of the connection is so much different than that of other connections, right? The frequency of the connection is so much different than that of other connections. And I think for one of you, at the very least, it was too much. Because sometimes when you don't have the words, but you have the feelings, it's hard to come to terms with those feelings, right? And I feel like that's part of why there's this lack of completion, because there is this lack of coming to terms with the weight of the connection. And there's this other aspect that's coming in, the truth be told, if you look at the card. One of the partners was putting on a mask. And the problem is, when you have a connection that is like that, when you have a connection that is that intense, one partner can wear a mask, but the other partner will see through it. Okay? Because if you know somebody at a soul level, and if you've seen somebody at a soul level, you can't unsee them. You can't unknow them. And so if they choose to hide behind a mask, it's very obvious. It's very obvious. Where it may not have been so obvious to people who were in relationship before with them. Okay? Because when you have someone who sees down into who you are, at the very root, at the very core of who you are, and you try and play pretend, there's no pretend. There's no pretending. And I also think, as I said, the reason for wearing the mask was because they didn't have the words for it. And there's this other thing going on with the stomach. It made them nervous. It made them physically sick. Because they, not that they didn't understand it, they understood it at a very intrinsic level, at a soul level. They understood what was happening. But it's like they couldn't wrap their brain around the connection. And so either one or both parties took a step back. But still, one of those parties is wearing a mask and they can't wrap their brain around the connection. They can't give the connection the due diligence it would have needed to be complete. And so that's why we have the fates coming back in. The fates are saying, this is not done. You think it's done, it's not done. And that is the Divine Partners reading. My name is Lindsey Rose. This is Storyteller Tarot. If you would like your own personal reading, please check out the links. Otherwise, I wish you guys well.